Alrighty, looks like we are live. Welcome to a special edition of Properties and Beers. It's Tuesday. You're looking at the background going, what's going on? So I've got a quick question for you. What would you do if money wasn't an issue? What would life actually look like for you? And, not just this dream version, just your real life with a bit more space to breathe. All right. Well, welcome everyone to Properties and Beers. If you're just jumping on, say hello, drop in the comments, drop me a line, say howdy. And for those that don't know, my name's Gaurav Gupta, CEO and founder of Ethical Property Investments. We work closely with everyday Aussies, just like you and me, to invest in high cash flow ethical properties, homes that both do good and make money at the same time. And yes, before someone asks, I am coming to you from Bali today, right? Not a bad place to sit and reflect on a few things that matter, especially at the start of the year when it comes to money, lifestyle, and why we actually want to do these things. So today I'm coming to you live from Hard Rock Hotel, and I have a surprise coconut. Let's show you a little bit about where I am. Let's take my iPad at the Hard Rock Hotel. Nice pool, and of course, Feet in the Sand edition, like we did the last properties and beers we did, right? Came to you live from Gilly Trawongan. So, you know, the first simple question most people don't do is they don't slow down enough to answer why do you want to make money? And the second that something that quietly shapes that how money gets used for most Australians is mortgages, right? So let's ease into it. So I was thinking about this earlier today, sitting here in Bali, that you know most people don't wake up wanting more money because they love their bank balances and spreadsheets. There's usually something deeper underneath it. And unfortunately, those that are just looking for bigger bank balances or more spreadsheets, they don't really get more of it because that doesn't really excite people, right? Now, everyone's different. For me, money's always been about travel, right? Experiences, being able to pick up and go somewhere and spend time with people I care about where you're not stressed about every step of the way. In fact, straight up properties and views, I'm going to jump straight in the pool with my son and have a great time. And hopefully my daughter will join it too, right? But that's my reason, right? Yours might be completely different. So here's my question worth sitting with. If money was an issue, what would your week actually look like? Not this weird fancy version where you're flying around in helicopters and luxury 70, 100-foot yachts, but just your real life with a little bit more breathing. Would you work less? Would you figure out how to work remotely, travel more, travel in better, in more style? Say no to the things that drain you, or say yes to the things you've really been putting off. So when I talk to people, especially, invested, I notice something interesting. A lot of them start to tell me exactly how much they want to earn, but struggling to explain why. And, you know, here's the thing. And when the why isn't clear, money starts to feel heavy. You have this magic $100,000 a year figure that just comes up and it becomes pressure instead of, it really a tool. Now, I personally don't think money is a goal. It's usually tied to something people don't always say out loud. Time with family, health, freedom, peace of mind at the end of the day. You know, for some, it's not about repeating what they saw growing up. Sorry, let's breathe it again. For some people, it's not about like repeating what they saw growing up. Um, it's let me frame that a different way, guys. Sorry, it's Facebook Live. What do you know? For some, it's about not repeating what they saw growing up, having a different life. For others, it's about creating options for their kids. And sometimes it's simply about feeling secure enough to breathe. Everyone's different in their own journey, in their own way. And I want to honor you for wherever you are. So here's another one. If your income doubled tomorrow, what would actually change? And, funnily enough, I've got clients we've had made more money than what they've had in jobs. Even in January, I was talking to someone that January, this month, right? A week ago, I talked to someone who made more money in their property purchase over the last few months than they did from their jobs. And, it really wasn't, it gave a good perspective check. What would you do? And so here's another honest one. If your income doubled, what would change? If the answer is not much, that's probably worthwhile paying attention to because earning more money doesn't create a better life. And as Tony Robbins says, set your goals accurately. If you want to make money and you say, "Hey, I want to make some more money. Here's a dollar. Get out of here." Right? Because money isn't just dollars and zeros and cents in a bank account or on its computer screen. It doesn't just create a better life. It amplifies whatever structure you already have. So this is where I see people get frustrated. They do the right things, they work hard, uh, and they do more and more over time, but life still feels tight, right? And that's usually when people start blaming themselves. They think they're bad. They think they're disciplined and not disciplined enough. They're not doing enough, and enough isn't the name of the game. And most of the time, that's not even the real issue. Money's meant to support your life, not control it. And that, my friend, is really important to know. And this leads straight to the second part of tonight's conversation, and that is the word mortgaging. I start with the word mortgage. I'm going to have a coconut. Delicious. It's cold, sweet coconut. You don't usually get quick sweet coconuts in Bali, but the Hard Rock Boys managed to get it right. So most people don't want money for money's sake. They want time, travels, um, options, memories. And then we sign up for this 30-year mortgage and without realizing it, that's loan starts deciding how we live. So let's talk about the dirty word, the M word for a moment, the word mortgage, right? A lot of people earn decent money and still feel tight every month. You might relate to that, right? Uh, so they're doing a pool watch, right? A lot of people start earning this money and still feel tight. Oh, geez, did I had a little trip? Sorry, did I had a little trip on the pool? Not mine, someone else's, but still, want to make sure we take care of our fellow human being. You know, and most people feel that, you just focus on a monthly repayment. As long as you can cover that, it kind of feels manageable. What most people don't look at is the actual total cost over time, right? Interest doesn't just feel scary week to week, it quietly builds up in the background. Years pass, incomes go up, but the pressure kind of stays. People get bigger houses, larger mortgages. And one day you stop and think, you know what? I've been paying this for way too long, for a long time. Why does it still have to be so far away to pay off my mortgage? And 30 years starts feeling normal. But when you pause and really think about in those 30 years, it hits differently. It's 30 damn years. Those 30 years of work decisions, lifestyle decisions, travel decisions, stress decisions. This is where money stops being a tool and starts setting the rules. You don't want money setting the rules. You want to set the rules for money, right? And here's the important part. Look, a lot of people think it's about sacrifice, and it's not really about that. It's not about cutting like every little piece of joy out of your life or living uncomfortably. Most people don't fill up mortgages. They honestly they were just never shown a way to structure it. And what we've learned over the years is that the structure of finance really matters, and it matters far more than how hard you try, whatever the interest rate is. And look, we've worked with people who've earned the strong incomes who feel stuck, and we've worked with them to and even though they earn less, right? But they can move faster forward because their setup really supports them. And that's why we created this thing called Mortgage Terminator. So next Tuesday, January 20th, we're running a dedicated webinar. That's right, January 20th, guys. Yep. January 20th, where we kind of break this down. We're not doing surface level tips. We're not generic advice. We're actually going to go deep and we're actually going to walk through how people are shortening what would be a 30-year mortgage into like 10 years or even less in some cases, right? And I'm not about living on mee goreng and rice and beans and all that crazy stuff, right? We're not about burning themselves up. It's about understanding how money flows and how property can work alongside your future. And what is your reason for wanting the money? Is it time, travel, freedom? Hey, doing a live webinar with feet in the sand and a pool. And look, here's the other thing, guys. If any of this is hitting home, join us for the session January 20th at 6:30 Melbourne time. And yes, I will be back in Melbourne. I promise you, I won't be doing it from Bali. I won't make you guys feel even more that way. So before I wrap this up, one quick thing. I know a lot of you watching aren't actually following our page yet, and that means you're probably missing out on really cool content that could be genuinely making decisions to help you make your life better. And on Facebook, Instagram, follow Ethical Property Investments, where we really share practical conversations, real life examples, clear explanations, and no real noise. And if you care about investing, and using property in a way that suits your life, not in a way that suits you. Especially if money isn't just about numbers for you, but how you want to live. Join us, right? Whether it's or join us on our Facebook, or even on our webinar that we're going to hold next Tuesday. Thank you for spending some of your day with me. From Bali to wherever you're watching from, I appreciate you. Have a fantastic day, and guys, cheers.